Hello again, lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. I am Mrs. Leila Tomasone. I'm a dating, relationship, and marriage mentor. If you're new here, thank you for coming, and make sure to subscribe and like all of that good stuff. So what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit of, or a big misunderstanding about how to be submissive. And that's definitely like a biblical concept. There's also some more like controversial connotations of the word. So I myself, being more secular in my coaching, but I do help Christian women and men, and I'm glad to do that. Totally respect the Bible and what it says on the subject, and I'm happy to adhere to what it says on the subject, but I'm not a scholar or expert on that. So just kind of my disclaimer there. The term I typically like to use is surrendering, but I don't think the specific word is that important. It's just the general concept of allowing your husband to be the primary decision maker, to be sort of the captain of the ship, and you're the first mate, or maybe like a coach and quarterback situation, something along those lines. And so in practical terms, basically what it means is kind of giving him authority to make final decisions, right? But obviously that does not preclude giving your input. I say obviously, it's obvious to me, but it's not necessarily obvious to people who this is a new concept for. But even for women and men who are familiar with the concept, there's still a lot of misunderstanding as to what it means, because what will happen is a wife wants to be submissive and give decision-making power over to her husband when maybe she had been taking over a lot of that in the past, and she wants to get back to being more feminine, let him lead, and lean back in her role in the marriage, right? But what happens if he's actually making decisions and requesting things of her that she just really can't do? And so I think this is where the confusion is, that I wanted to explain how that would actually work if you really are being submissive or surrendered. So to expand on that concept a little bit, the fact that you're extending trust to your husband allows him to rise to the occasion, right, and act more responsibly, right? So a lot of married women or single women are going to be super scared of this idea, because they think that if you trust him with sort of this power, then that means he'll abuse it, or abuse you even. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but in general, usually human nature is that if you're given more trust and more respect, that you will respond with being more trustworthy and being worthy of more respect. And you can see this in children when you're parenting, that when you give them your highest expectations and belief in them, that they are able to rise to those positive expectations. If you show them that you expect the worst from them, they will live up to that as well. And so the same is true of adults, really. We have the same psychology, even though we maybe have a little more ability to look at it from like a meta angle. But in general, we respond really the same way. So the concept that I wanted to get across today is, like I said, in the situation where a husband really wants to decide on behalf of his wife that she needs to do something. Let's just say give up something that is important to her. And so here in this scenario, you may be trusting him and sort of fake it till you make it, giving him the benefit of the doubt on certain decisions, But being scared that if you are truly submissive or truly surrender, then he's going to make you give up something that is important to you or make you do something you really don't want to do. So what I'm saying, that my theory or suggestion or my definition of surrendering is that you not only trust him with the decision making, but you also trust him with your no or your I can't. Okay? So if something is just truly not compatible in your mind with what is good for you, what will make you happy, or just your standards and your boundaries, like I just am not willing to do this, then I think that you should also be trusting him to hear you say, I can't. That you would also be trusting him with your boundaries and his ability to be a big, strong, leading man who can handle hearing that. Does that make sense? So if you're operating under the assumption that by trusting him he will rise to the occasion, you're elevating him in a way of like you're a good leader. You make good decisions. You are able to do what's best for the family, right? These are sort of the assumptions that you're operating under. And I would like to submit that, no pun intended, that you should also elevate him to the level of someone who can hear, I can't, from you. That he can hear what your boundaries are and work with that. He's a big, strong man. He's not a kid. He's not going to get his heart broken, right? Even if you think he would. But when we're operating under these assumptions that we're helping, elevate him with our faith, then let's also grant him the benefit of the doubt and the faith that he can hear a no. Does that make sense? So I want to empower women and wives to not feel like you have to give up power over your own life or the ability to say no or have boundaries and standards for yourself because you're submitting to your husband. Does that make sense? So even though you might feel like that's not really actually submitting or that you're being a bad surrendered wife if you say no or you say I can't, I'm here to say that I believe that goes with submission. The definition of surrendering to your husband is to grant him the faith and the respect that he can handle hearing your boundaries and respecting your boundaries. And that doesn't mean you should argue, yell, kick and scream about, no, I'm not doing this, this is la la la. Doesn't that just detract from the empowered, elevated, respectful situation that we're trying to achieve here, right? So like if you're disciplining your kids and you are the strong and centered and calm one, you don't flip out and fly off the handle. I know we always do. We all do occasionally, but that really detracts from your power in the situation. The second you start screaming and yelling, the words are not heard. They're going in one ear and out the other, and all respect for you is completely lost by the one hearing you scream, right? So when I say it's okay to say no, it's okay to say I can't, that's all I mean. Like, just say no, just say I can't. Don't go screaming and yelling and arguing and ranting, stomping, anything to that effect. That's only going to detract from the message and the energy that we're trying to communicate in the situation. Does that make sense? So let me know in the comments, or head on over to my website, limitlessbyleila.com. Send me a message if you have any input or questions on what I've said, if you agree or disagree, I would love to hear it. And I will see you again here next time, and hopefully we can talk some more about this. If you disagree with anything I've said or want me to elaborate further, I would be happy to. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye.